Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's good, off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Gone! Grant Fournier! Two-run shot to right! Welcome to Friday Morning Football here from Collingswood High School. It's our first of two Friday games today before we travel down to the Shore Conference for Point Pleasant Beach at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris on the call this morning as we're starting at right around 10:30 here from Collingswood. This is a very good rematch from last year with Clayton and Collingswood. Last year we saw them at Haupt Field at the Boatyard in Clayton. Final score was 30-26 Collingswood. That game came down to the little things. Caden Luby and Demetrius Williams combined for 8 touchdowns. Every single score was a rush by those two men. Williams had 4, Luby had 4, but it came down to the fact that Collingswood made all 4 of their extra points. Clayton went 0 for 3 and then had to make a 2-point conversion. That's why the game was 4 points. But today, the story's going to be different. Clayton had 3,600 rushing yards last year and under 300 passing and receiving yards. This team is rush, 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 day in and day out. And now, Colin, it's going to be a time for head coach John Chamberlain to figure out what he's got to do in this new era without Williams.
Yeah, and we talked about it pregame. It's going to be an exciting weekend already for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, but now we're in Collingswood for game number 2. And, you know, it's an exciting rematch. What better way than to kick it off with a rematch of basically a year ago today in 2024 when they opened at Clayton. For Clayton, it's going to be a lot of question marks on their offense. It's going to be who's going to be stepping up next for Clayton, and especially that rushing game. They're a rush-heavy offense. And then on the other side for Collingswood, it's going to be, you know, a more established passing game, you know, with John Antrill and, you know, Antrilli, and, you know, that Collingswood, offense that will be looking to get an early start here today.
Yeah, listen, Collingswood bringing back John Antrilli as a quarterback is a really nice thing. He only threw a couple of touchdowns last year, but he certainly threw a lot more passes than Gabriel Hill did. He only attempted 25, and Gabriel Hill, the starting quarterback for Clayton, only attempted no more than 4 passes per game. Never had any more than 4. So the question will be, if you're Clayton's offense, do you pivot to more of a pass-based offense, or do you try to keep going with the same old trick, and they'll go with a different running back this time, which, again, with this being their first game of the year, will be determined once they take those snaps. But really, I think the thing is for Collingswood, Mike McEwen is a fantastic head coach. He's entering his 9th season with Collingswood. He's the all-time leading receiver at LaSalle from the early 2000s. So he knows football like the back of his hand, and he is a very fundamental coach. They had a good start last year. They started out 2-0, but then had a 1-6 run to end the year, and they finished at 3-7 to close out the 2024 campaign. So they want to get off to a better start at home. They're starting with the lights not on, but with the light in the sky, that being the sun, being what's going to help us today. But this is an interesting facility. You've got the Collingswood High School and the Wrestling Center to our left. You've got the lakefront of the Cooper River to our right. So it's going to be fun. You know, I like coming to Collingswood. Mike McEwen's a great guy, and this is a great matchup from last year. That's why we booked it on our schedule, and that's why it's our first of 2 today. Like we said, South River and Point Pleasant Beach, 7 o'clock tonight. Coming in right behind us is going to be the Collingswood Panthers. There they are behind us. A little bit of almost a selfie shot. See, Colin, we timed it out perfectly. But listen, before we wrap up this open, let's talk about you know, what Collingswood could be able to improve on tonight, because it could be a game where Collingswood could win by 2 or 3 scores if they can take advantage of Clayton's defense. But last year was a high-scoring game for high school football, at least 30-26. It was close, and it came down to the little things. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Well, Mike McEwen went out and got 2 very, very solid and established coordinators in John Small and Brian Leary of my high school, Highland. So bringing them in is huge for, you know, the development of Antrilli and, you know, even the defense as well. I think it's really going to come down to, you know, if Clayton can get it done on offense and if this Collingswood defense can hold them out throughout the game And, it'll be big to see what Collingswood offense can do in another year with John Antrilli and, Caden Luby, just seeing what he can do coming off that 200-plus yard performance last year against Clayton on opening weekend.
Well, we'll have to see. We've got 4 quarters of 12-minute football. It's going to be a jockey for sure. It is going to be a heck of a matchup. It's Clayton and Collingswood, a rematch from last year, Week 0, Friday morning football, kicking off Labor Day weekend. We'll be back in just a moment right after this. Again, here from Hauptfield. No, excuse me. We were at Collingswood High School last year around this time. We were at Hauptfield, the Boatyard. Clayton will kick off. Collingswood will receive 48 minutes of South Jersey Group 1 football. Friday morning, happy Labor Day weekend. We're going to get this party started with the Clippers and the Panthers. We're underway. That kick is muffed. It's brought to the 30. Collingswood's going to get a decent return, and they're going to start this ball game at the 44-yard line. Isaiah Cruz, the wrestler for Collingswood, in on that one. As the Panthers, with their first drive of the night, we're going to send it away to talk about John Antrilli, the senior quarterback, getting the start in tonight's player profile for the Panthers. John Antrilli had a decent junior year in 2024, went 40 for 93 with 6 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. His best game was actually a loss versus Pennsville, just individually, 6 for 10 with 2 touchdowns and 143 yards. They run out of the I form and get a yard or 2 that time. It looks like maybe they just got a yard. They're going to be at the 45, their own 45. 2nd and 9.
And I think that'll be a big thing for Antrilli, is going to be limiting those turnovers. He doubled his interceptions than touchdowns with 12 last year. So, working with Brian Leary, year 1 of Leary here in Collingswood, obviously, an offensive guy, now brought in as a coordinator following his stint as head coach at Highland. It's going to be big for Antrilli to work with someone as high of a caliber as a coordinator as Brian Leary.
Absolutely. As, again, Antrilli working in a low crouch out of the I form. Hands it off. It's number 23 for the Panthers. I believe that's Isaiah Clement on the rush. The junior back.
Is there room for my son to sit here?
3rd and 6 for the Panthers as they look to avoid going 3 and out. Got a couple of yards on that play, and the right tackle got to jump that time. That's going to be number 5 that gets picked up for the false start. It's one of the few times where I can tell exactly who moved right away just as the snap was going. That was the right tackle that time. They're going to go back to 3rd and just about 10. And we'll go right back to where they started at the 44-yard line.
And I think with, the offense, the running back position after following the graduation of Demetrius Williams, it's going to be big on the defense today for Clayton to see if they can step up against an established Collingswood offense and an established quarterback in John Antrilli.
It's going to be interesting to see what Clayton does with anything offensively, because it feels like week 0 is where those first changes are made and those first adjustments really start to seep in. Out to the left for Caden Luby. No, excuse me, Lito Battaloni. Rushing on 3rd and 10, unable to get too much on that one, and the special teams unit will come out for Collingswood.
And that's going to be a big thing for Collingswood all day, is going to be Caden Luby. I know that was not him on that run.
That was Lino Battaloni, yeah.
Correct. However, Caden Luby has been Collingswood's guy the last 2 years. I mean, he's done it on both sides of the balls. He led the team in tackles on the defensive side last year, and, obviously was their highest rusher, So doing what he did last year against Clayton, over 200 yards, obviously that face-off with him and Demetrius Williams. We'll see if he can do it again today.
Trevor Rem will be back to receive. Battaloni punts. Collingswood does not touch it, and it is picked up by number 21. So that'll be down inside the 20 just about, and Clayton will get their first offensive drive with quarterback Gabriel Hill, the junior. Let's take a look at what he's got in store with our player profile for Gabriel Hill. Now, again, if you can't tell that Clayton rushed for 3,600 yards last year, I don't know if the quarterback stats could convince you anymore. He only attempted 4 passes per game, his maximum. There were games where he only attempted 1 or 2 passes. And those are the numbers right there, 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, also had a rushing touchdown as well. And as we said, never attempted more than 4 passes per game. So no surprise there. We get a rush out to the right, and he is gone. How about this for a quarterback rush? It's Gabriel Hill. Is he going to go all the way? Yes, he does. Clippers touchdown. How about that on the first play from scrimmage? Gabriel Hill takes it himself. And the Clippers with looked like an 80-yard rush. And they're on the board.
And that's the one thing we talked about pregame, and he just kind of proved us wrong. Gabriel Hill just takes it off himself. We were saying, who's going to be this guy for the offense? We were talking about he, hasn't had the most opportunities to do it in the air last year. So doing it on the ground there, 80-yard rush. I mean, that's one way to step up and get the job done following the graduation of your senior running back.
So they will attempt a standard PAT. It'll be attempted by number 53, Nicholas Norrie, and held by number 6, Trevor Rem. It's up, and it's blocked. Collingswood will get a chance to get it back, but unable to do so. Score 6-0, Clayton on an 80-yard rush. Might have been 79 that time. I think the ball was spotted at the 21. How about Gabriel Hill getting the party started for the Clippers? Right out of the gate, quarterback rush. 79 yards to the house. Haven't seen that one in a while. But you know what? Second game in a row where the first play by a team on the offensive drive is a touchdown. And Clayton's up 6. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, a brief break as Clayton leads the Panthers 6-0, 79-yard rush. Out of the quarterback spot by the Clippers and by Gabriel Hill. This one sent out by Norrie, where his extra point was blocked. It's going to be returned by the Panthers' number 13, who rolls out to the left. Did not get as good of a return last time, but he still gets up to the respectable spot of the 35. And Collingswood with Antrilli again will take over. Big thing for Collingswood is, obviously those coaches up and to our left in the scissor lifts behind us with the absence of a press box, not happy about the 79-yard rush. Best way to counter that is get one of your own in the offense. I don't know what Antrilli's plan would be, but he had 29 rushing yards and 11 attempts last year. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go, pound for pound, 1 for 1 on this drive. Does throw to the flat this time, get number 13. And he'll be down just around the line of scrimmage.
Antrilli's pass to Baylor.
That's Elgin Baylor Jr., no relation to the former Laker, by the way. He's a transfer from Haddon Township, who is in his junior year, class of 27. So it'll be fun to watch him play because he's obviously, again, transferring over from a rival school, transferring from Haddon Township to Collingswood. It's going to be fun to watch him play, and I wouldn't be surprised if Antrilli hits him a couple times on that flat route on the left. They hand it off. And they'll get a couple more yards on that third and mid-range from the, looks like maybe 37. No, I'm sorry, 41. Misjudged that time.
And I think this is a big third down here for Collingswood. It's going to be interesting to see what Antrilli draws up here because, you go down and you let up an 80-yard touchdown run to the opposing quarterback. You want to get right back at it on the offensive side of the ball. So it's going to be a big play call here for the Collingswood offense.
It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 41. Antrilli in the shotgun, drops back, fires, it's caught. And Luby had a rush on 2nd down, and on 3rd down picks up a reception and a 1st down.
And that's what I talked about before this, Dan. He's going to do it all. He's going to catch it, he's going to run it, and he's going to defend it. So he's going to do it on all sides of the ball today, and that's going to be their guy.
Yeah, listen, he had 732 rushing yards last year, but that was also in 119 rushes. That's just over 6.2 yards per carry. Meanwhile, he only had 2 receptions last year. 2 receptions, 22 yards. So he's already put that in half. As the rush to the left side, it's going to get about 5 yards. So Collingswood, again, they're not doing 2 things. I'm trying to phrase myself here. They're not doing things too fancy. They're just rushing a little bit. They're getting a couple of yards at a time, and it's steady progress. That's really the staple of the Mike McEwen offense. Handoff to Luby. Up to the right side after getting 4 yards in the last play. He's going to get snuffed out. And some contact after the whistle between Luby and Clayton's number 12, Enoch Figueroa.
Ball is spotted on 44. It's 3rd and 3.
So 3rd and 3. They gained 3 yards here, and I don't feel that nervous for Collingswood right now. It's 3rd and short, and they've proven that Antrilli can throw out of the pocket efficiently, and they've shown that Antrilli can be that kind of guy that on 3rd and short, they can go with either the run or the pass. They can be unpredictable on that offensive front in the situation. They do opt for the rush. Luby gets his back turned, and again, some more contact after the play, but Luby, think he got maybe a yard or 2. I don't think it was enough for a 1st down, and they do signal 4 on the pylons on the far side of the field.
Straight forward.
I don't think he might have gotten a yard. 4th and 1. They're at the opposing 42-yard line, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try to just run it up the gut this time with Luby and Collingswood and Mike McEwen. called a timeout, or at least I thought he did. Or no. McEwen is going to ask for a measurement. At least that's what I thought. I think they're going to ask for a measurement here.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, right before that last play, this is definitely 4-down territory for Collingswood here, just on the other side of the 50.
Oh, and look at that, the light pole's in our way. We gotta get a little creative here. This is what we're missing in the NFL, folks. They got rid of it this year. They're using electronic technology to mark first downs. There's no doubt in my mind that this is short. It's short by maybe a yard. I'm surprised. Surprised they even went for it, because I was pretty confident, even just from the naked eye, that was pretty short. But McEwen obviously thought differently, and we will have 4th and 1 from the 41-yard line on the opposing side. Collingswood looking to get on the board. And again, if this game shapes up to be anything like last year, touchdowns and extra points might be the big thing, with Clayton having their first block. They're going to go up the middle, Jalen Hurts style, and I believe they're going to get that one across. And they do get it across. First down for the Panthers.
And that's huge for Collingswood there. They absolutely needed that one, and Trilly just holding it himself and just barreling through. He's definitely not a small guy at all.
No.
He's going to go right through that line, and a solid offensive line for Collingswood at that. So he just kind of took that, probably gained about 2 or 3 yards just on that sneak, and picks up a crucial first down for Collingswood.
Yeah, I say Philly style, but that was a lot more of a traditional quarterback sneak instead of your modified tush push or whatever. I don't even think that move is legal in high school. I don't think it is. I think somebody told me last year that it was illegal. We've got flags, our first of the day, or actually our second penalty of the day. Collingswood had a false start earlier, but still, it's going to be a false start against Collingswood. So, listen, 4:22 in the first quarter and only 2 flags. Considering that last year we had a 32-minute first quarter with 16 penalty flags in the first quarter last year of this game, of this very game. That was a long, long day.
Literally a year ago today.
Mm-hmm.
It was August 30th, 2024.
Well, Saturday is the 30th, but I'm not going to flag you on that technicality there. First and 15, pitched back to the right side, barrels right into the Clayton line. Terrence Goffney on the carry that time, senior back. And I believe that they're going to make up most, if not all, of their lost ground. It's now going to be 2nd and 11. So they get 4 yards, making up for that false start mostly. And they'll go back to the huddle with 3.5 minutes left to play in the first. Even if Collingswood doesn't score in this drive, listen, it seems like that this is going to be a very slow drive. It already is a very slow drive. We're going to see if they can carry this all the way to the end of the quarter. We've got time. Mike McEwen calls a timeout, his first of the half. We're going to be right back as we've got Clayton and Collingswood from Collingswood High School. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Good.
Back here from Collingswood High School, it has been a fun one so far. Collingswood trailing 6-0 to Clayton here at the tail end of the first quarter. Mike McEwen called his first time out of the half, and Trilly rolls out on 2nd and 11, fires to Luby, who's got it on the left side. He'll get into the red zone, and it'll be a first down for the Panthers. That's a gutsy play, but I like it. Again, it's in high school, especially in Group 1 football, it's never easy for a quarterback to just roll out of the pocket like that and make a throw on the run, especially on 2nd and long. They're able to do it that time, and they're able to convert for a first down.
And I believe this flag either is going to be a late hit or it might have been helmet-to-helmet contact here.
Oh, you're right.
Luby was a little bit slow to get up on that play.
I didn't catch that, but we do have a penalty.
And it is.
Personal foul is called.
I believe that was just on the helmet to helmet.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
However, something to keep an eye on here, Dan, is
They're going to be up at the 10, it looks like.
yeah, it's a 15-yarder. Just something to keep an eye on here is Collingswood seems to be using Luby more as a receiver today.
And he only had 2 receptions all of last year. 2 receptions for 22 yards.
And he might have that already today.
Yeah, I think he's already gotten that. Handoff to Goffney. Gets some blockers on the right side. He's going to push his way, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Collingswood. Game tied. Terrence Goffney takes advantage on the first play after a personal foul penalty, and he rushes 10 yards. He musters his way through a laboring Clayton defense and finds his way into the end zone. We're tied 6-6.
And that is really just as solid as a drive as it gets for Collingswood and that Brian Leary offense. It was run all the way down, a couple quick passes for Antrilli, and then they punched it in with the run.
Antrilli will hold, Battaloni will kick, it is up, away, and it is good. Extra point is good, and Collingswood, just like last year, gets the advantage. It's 7-6. As that blocked extra point could come back to haunt them, as it's 2:49 left in the first quarter. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey, the premier community college in all of New Jersey, with top-of-the-notch athletics and top-notch education as well. Become a Roadrunner at rcroadrunners.com and become a student of RCSJ at rcroadrunners.edu. This broadcast is also brought to you by DIWG Pro Wrestling. Check them out on Saturday, August 30th from the Chamberlain Student Center at Rowan University for their Saturday night SmackDown at Rowan. Again, Dog Pro Wrestling, you can visit them online, DAWGProWrestling.com. You can get your next event with a little bit of spice, a little bit of flair by booking DAWG Pro Wrestling, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. So Battaloni to kick with a 7-6 game in the first quarter already. Some points on both sides. We didn't see any of that last night with Cumberland shutting out Clearview 26-zip. So finally good to see some level-headed offense. As this one is going to be over the head. Is it going to bounce out of bounds is the question. It is returned. He is dangerously close to the sideline. He's going to step out around the 15-yard line. And a little bit of extracurriculars, it looks like, after the play. Not too much, but certainly just a little bit that time. That was returned by Haven Walls, who, the interesting thing with that one, I was a little bit confused because that kick went to the right. Now, I don't know if it would have gotten out of the grass if nobody touched it and it would have been a kicking out of bounds penalty. But, I mean, he picked it up and he was far out to the left and then returned it and was dancing along that sideline. They are going to be spotted at the 20.
And talking about the little pushes and shoves here with Clayton and Collingswood, you would be wrong if you didn't think Clayton would want to come into Collingswood and get revenge for last year's opening weekend game.
Because Clayton had a better regular season than Collingswood did last year. They finished 5-4-1, and even though these teams play in different divisions, this has been a year-over-year matchup that has been really good. Again, last year, we talk about it all the time, the final score was 30-26. I mean, how many football games do we have last year? I think we had 9 that were one-score games. That felt like one of the better ones of the year. One of the better things as well, not a lot of cramps so far. We had a lot of those in this game last year.
I've heard.
Week 0 is cramp week. Hill takes it himself on 2nd and 6. Doesn't get too far.
And trying to go right back.
2 minutes left in the first.
Calling his own number, going right back to that run game after his 79-yard touchdown on the last drive. 1 play, 1 score. But now for Clayton, it's going to be big for them to see if they can keep up with this Collingswood offense and, match their scoring. Obviously, they went up first. But this Collingswood offense is nothing to joke around with, so it's going to be interesting to see what Clayton has to respond to that touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. Listen, going back to your own number that time after scoring on the first play, 79 yards, it's impressive. But we're going to have to see if that will hold or if they'll have to go with some more guys. They've got Trevor Rem in motion. That is Deron Williams up the middle. Gets it to the 40. That is plenty good for a first down for Clayton. in the final 100 seconds of the first quarter.
Almost a little jet sweep there
I liked it.
from Clayton, and it's just they just gonna have to get creative. I mean, this is a good Collingswood defense. They're rolling without their star running back from last year. It's just a new beginning for this Clayton offense, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they tackle this, no pun intended, against Collingswood. So so far it's looked pretty good for Clayton. They're moving the chains once again, and we'll see how they continue this drive as we wind down the first quarter.
Under a minute left, pitched back. Over to the left side, they're going to get 5 yards, just about. It's carried by Enoch Figueroa. One of the interesting things that John Chamberlain, Williamstown grad, by the way, and also grad of McDaniel College in Maryland, what's interesting is now that he has turned this offense into a very diversified offense. Hill has called his own number once. He's called his own number a couple of times. We've seen Trevor Rem with a couple of carries, and time is called by the officials for an injury. We've got Enoch Figueroa, who just had that carry. He is down, but 29.6 is what's on the scoreboard to our left here at Collingswood High School. We'll stay on the air for just a moment. What I think is interesting, though, is that Clayton has really diversified the offense. Figueroa's gotten a couple carries. Deron Williams gotten a couple carries. Last year, it was Demetrius Williams or bust. Now, a couple other guys would get carries, but when you have a 1,600-yard rusher, why would you go to anybody else for any other reason other than either third down, which Williams himself was good at, or fatigue? That would be the only reason you'd go to somebody else last year. But now John Chamberlain kind of has his hand forced because he still has his quarterback, still has a handful of his receivers. But one thing to note, seems like their overall plan hasn't changed from last year because they still haven't attempted a pass.
And Chamberlain, entering his 4th year here as the Clayton head coach, he was a running back himself at Williamstown and McDaniel College. So that is going to be something that you got to take into consideration here as this Clayton offense. I mean, we haven't seen a pass yet, as you mentioned. So just that running back kind of mindset from the head coach is going to be interesting to see from an offense that I'm assuming has most operation of.
Figueroa gets up he gets up on his own power after being attended to by the training staff. He will send his way off the field with, again, under 30 seconds left in the first quarter. And you do make a good point there, Colin. I think what's interesting, Mike McEwen was a wide receiver at LaSalle. He picked up a whole bunch of school records at LaSalle before they closed their program. I don't think LaSalle's had a football program in at least 5 or 10 years. But the point is that he was a wide receiver. And what is his offense? Primarily a rush-pass combo. And they've passed a good amount of times today. That's going to be a loss. They go from 2nd and short. They're going to lose 5 yards on the play. It's going to be 3rd and mid-range now for Clayton. And then, again, on the other side of the coin, John H. Chamberlain, running back at McDaniel, running back at Williamstown, you have a run-focused offense. So when you're in those shoes as a player, as a coach, those shine through. So we're going to get to the end of the first quarter. We will start it back up with a 3rd and 7 when we return. As from Collingswood High School, each team trades a touchdown, and the only difference was on the kicking side. 7-6 Collingswood after 1.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
First play of the second quarter on 3rd and 7.
I believe he got there, Dan.
I think he did.
We'll see where they marked us.
Could require another measurement. Wesley on the tackle that time.
Yep.
Again, we were just talking during the break. This is going to be a game, in my opinion, that I think is going to be a very similar match to last year. Two teams that are hungry to win. I would argue sometimes the Group 1 schools are hungrier to win than the Group 4s and the Group 5s. Now, that's not a slight against these guys. But if you've ever been to Clayton, if you've ever been to Collingswood, you know, I was shooting some B-roll in the downtown on Tuesday, and it amazes me the rich history of a small town like Collingswood, and even Clayton in that area. Pittman, Glassboro, Mullica Hill, just some fantastic small towns, and they have so much to play for, not just for their own futures professionally and collegiately, but also for the small town pride. You know, I went to Audubon High School. My graduating class was 124, and again, for those that are familiar with Pittman, 2 years ago their graduating class was 99. It's crazy small. So when you're playing for a Group 1 school, you're playing for your town more than you're playing for yourself. There's people here that, you know, I can tell they've been to a lot of Collingswood games, and they are here to see the team succeed because that is their hometown team. 1st and 10 for the Clippers. They are at the 40-yard line. Just a minute gone in the second. Handoff, finds some room, and gets some space up the middle. It looks like he's going to get about 10 yards, and I think it'll be good for a first. Rushed by Quaddy Walls.
And Quaddy Walls is one of those guys that last year he was, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd guy in line with Demetrius Williams. So that's going to be someone who's going to be big to step up with the running game. But Clayton showing no phase after that long touchdown drive for Collingswood, kind of doing a similar thing here. It's very run heavy. They are yet to throw a pass yet again. So, you know, we'll see if they continue running. I don't know why you go away from it now.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They'll go back to Walls on 1st down and 10. And they'll get another good bunch of yards that time. They are moving quickly. They're going to be at the 21. It's going to be 2nd and 2 with a gain of 8 on that last play. I mean, yeah, listen, it's a lot of times, I think we saw Gabriel Hill saw 3 passes in opening night last year at Clayton. And I think at least 2 of them were in the final minute and a half when Clayton was in that final drive and they really needed to step it up or else they were going to lose, which he couldn't complete those. But it seems like when Clayton goes to the pass, it's out of an act of desperation. We've got an official timeout. Now we will resume. 2nd and short. Single back. Deron Williams, left side. He's going to get a 1st down and then some, and he's going to push all the way up to the 10. So 11-yard gain on that rush on 2nd and 2. They gained 8 on the last play, and then they gained 10 on the play before that. So just some fantastic efficiency here from Clayton, getting ready to bustle into the end zone, getting ready to push their way in. They're right now hitting Collingswood's defense where it hurts most. Just consistent, consistent, consistent. You've got it right there. Touchdown, Clayton. Deron Williams rushes for 10 yards. That's 4 plays in a row of 8 yards or more, and Clayton has retaken the lead. It's going to be 12-7.
Yeah, and I was wondering if we were going to see Gabriel Hill like almost call his own number again. As he seemed
wondered if they were going to do that, yeah.
If he seemed to shy away from it a little bit on that drive. But again, like we said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. The running game has been super, super solid on this drive, and Clayton was able to cash in pretty easily there.
Indeed. Score is 12-7. Now, when we covered Paulsboro and Pennsgrove on Saturday morning last year, that game was a final score of 12-7. So it looks like they are going, well, Hill is on the field. They're going to go for 2. They're going to try to get back where they lost, and diving forward, it is good.
Wow.
Very good rush there by Haven Walls. Got tackled at his legs and had to fall forward into the end zone. The 2-point conversion is good, and we've got a very traditional football score with 9:13 left in quarter number 2. It is Collingswood 14, Clayton 7. We'll be right back. Let's take a look at that rush by Deron Williams getting into the end zone. 10-yard rush that time. 4 straight rushes of 10 or more yards. Gives Clayton a 14-7 lead. I had to correct myself that time after we went to break, as they convert on 2, and now it's back to a 7-point game. And honestly, I like the fact that they did that, because they struggled last year in at least the game that we saw with extra points. They went 0 for 3 in their first 3 touchdowns, and then had to make 1 2-point conversion. That kick is smothered on the ground. Returned by Collingswood back at the 25. Some big hits. And Isaiah Cruz gets knocked down at the 32-yard line, which is where Collingswood will take over for another offensive drive, as Clayton will look to make a stand on defense after taking the lead.
And Clayton fans, it's a touchdown by another D. Williams. So, you know,
exactly.
you like to think
flashbacks.
You like to think it's heading another direction, a similar direction, I should say. But that's big for Clayton to respond after a long Collingswood drive. Now we'll see what John Antrilli and this Coles offense can do on this drive.
Yeah, that Collingswood drive that got them their first score was a very long one. And I intend, or at least I think, that this drive by Collingswood is going to be just the same, if not longer. We've got penalty flags on the play before the first snap. We've got some movement, it looks like. Indeed, false start on the offense. Just over 9 minutes left in the first half. Tune in later tonight for some shore conference action. We go from Camden County down to Ocean County. We'll see the South River Rams and the Point Pleasant Beach Garnet Gulls at 7 p.m. It's more Group 1 action, just not from around here. We'll be in Point Pleasant Beach. Vincent Vogt and Matt Goldman on the call. And then Paulsboro versus Pensgrove from Jim Devon. Oh, we got some helmet-to-helmet contact, looked like there. If not, it was very close. As even though it was accidental, still diving forward there. Going to make up some yards. It'll be still 2nd and 11, it looks like.
Sounds like a fun trip for the DWB.
And then we're back down to Pensgrove. A rematch from last year. Jeremiah Carr got on SportsCenter. Didn't use our clip, used our good friend Tom McGurk down there. Made a fantastic Randy Moss-style touchdown catch. And was featured, I don't think it was on the SportsCenter Top 10, but it was on one of those NFL pregame shows. A game that Paulsboro won 12-7. And Trilly throws it downfield. It's caught. Elgin Baylor Jr. with a catch up to the 30-yard line. He flips the field. First down, Collingswood. The transfer from Haddon Township showing off the new colors as Antrilli hits him downfield.
That was just an excellent, excellent throw by Antrilli, hanging out in that pocket. We talked about it pregame, the pocket passer presence for Antrilli. He just hung in there, fired a bullet down the field. Almost he broke one tackle. He was one tackle away.
He was one tackle away from being gone.
From going all the way. And the big play is something Clayton got in the first quarter, but now Collingswood flashing some of their own.
Luby, jet sweep, right side. Some more contact at the line of scrimmage, a shove, or actually no, that was a celebratory shove by Clayton that time, player on player, and it'll be 2nd down and maybe 10 or 11. Not sure if they got any. I don't think they got any yardage, but we're going to see if they lost any. They're going to be spotted right at the line of scrimmage at 30, and we'll be back to 2nd and 10. So no gain, no loss, no harm, no foul. But yeah, I mean that's a big momentum changer for Collingswood. That got a little bit of life back into the crowd. They got a little bit of life back into everybody here. And again, really a lot of credit on that pass for Antrilli's offensive line. The left side of that line really held up, allowed Antrilli to find some time. He didn't need that much time, but he certainly used it. Antrilli rolls out to the right side, or left side rather, lets it fly. It's Luby, but he did not have a foot down, or did he?
I believe he did.
He did. Caden Luby did have his foot down. Caden Luby right shy of the goal line.
I believe he did. I believe he got it. We'll check the replay in a little bit. Just dragging that back right foot. I believe he got a toe in. That's a fantastic catch. And Trilly rolling out on the run, by the way. That's an excellent, excellent pass. And Trilly looking really, really solid early on here.
Well, we saw a little bit of everything in those last 2 passes. And Trilly's pass to Baylor was a pass in the pocket. And then this time we see him on the run and flags on the play as from the 3-yard line. Might have some movement here. False start. That is the 4th false start against the Panthers.
More flags and cramps this year, Dan.
That's a lot better, right? It's a lot better than what we had. It's a lot better than the alternative, let's say that.
I mean, Caden Luby, though, that really is a fantastic catch. He already has more catches today than he did all last year, and is also chipping in the run game as well. A couple jet sweeps, a couple normal tailback runs, but
the fact that he's doing a little bit of everything, though, is a huge help for Collingswood. They're going to rush this from the 8, left side. Let's take a look at that replay of that catch, or so we think, by Caden Luby real quick here. Yeah, I think, you know what? Looking at that freeze frame, I think he did get a foot down. And, of course, the false start kind of hampers that, but we're going to rush 4-yard line to the goal line, rushing forward. A couple of linemen getting together. And Luby is going to be right at the goal line, almost kissing that goal line. They just need one more push to get in, and then a 7-point drive would tie this game at 14 apiece.
Well, I think you might know what time it is, Dan. Might be a little push here, a little
QB
quarterback
sneak
shove to get over that goal line. And truly, we talked about he's not a small guy.
Listen, we are 15 minutes from Philadelphia. I mean, they're still lined up in the I form, though. And
There
Trilly
it is.
does take it himself. You called it. You called it, Colin. Is he in? Yes! Touchdown, Collingswood! Had a feeling he was going to do that, and you said it perfectly. At the 1-yard line, no need to hand it off. Just call your own number, and John Antrilli's got a rushing touchdown to tie this game.
And I really,
If they get the extra point.
right, and Dan, we talked about it during the break. I really think we're in for a treat for this one. I know there's still just under 6 minutes here in the second quarter. However, this is just a really, really solid game so far. Antrilli with a solidified Collingswood drive with a good throw.
Kicked by Lino Battaloni. It is no good to the right. And that could be a difference maker because Clayton did go for 2 on their touchdown by Deron Williams earlier in the quarter. With 5:56 left in the second, it is Collingswood 13, Clayton 14. .556 left in quarter number 2. You're watching coverage of the Clayton Clippers and the Collingswood Panthers on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Thought I heard a whistle on the kickoff. It's returned at the 20. Clippers have some space. And the tackle is made at the 30, 29-ish yard line. Return made by Willie Weathers. So we're here from the grandstands of Collingswood High School. You can see the folks all around us today. We are one with the people, as behind us there are scissor lifts hosting the coaches, their schemes, and the public address announcer along with the clock operator. So this is the only high school that I know of that does not have a permanent press box of any kind. Now, I believe that they are working on one, or at least working on construction of one, but the last time we were here at Collingswood was 2023. It was a November crossover game between Gloucester Catholic and Collingswood that also ended in a good fashion. 21-20 GC. That ball pops out, goes right back in the hands of Collingswood. It popped right out before it hit the ground. Collingswood's got it back.
That's a huge hit
That
for
is huge.
Collingswood. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that going down, and you're on the goal line, and you just shove it in with your quarterback, and you come right back and force a fumble first play after the kickoff. I mean, it doesn't get – there isn't more of a momentum swing.
Especially after missing the extra point. We got some T-shirts being thrown. You think they can reach us?
I'm not sure. If they did, Collingswood might have a backup quarterback.
I don't know. If they do reach us, I don't know if they make them in my size. I got to lose like 50 more pounds before I can wear one of those. Run at the line of scrimmage is up at the 45. Terrence Goffney with the rush. Tackle made by number 70, Jamal Brown. And we've got 5.5 minutes left in the first half. I do have some other high school shirts. Holy Cross gave us one last year. The Gloucester City High School, the River Rats. I have a River Rats t-shirt. They still got some extras they're throwing out. Don't know if they're backup quarterback material, though, Colin. 14-13. Collingswood gets the ball back. Now Antrilli runs out. He's pressured. That ball got tipped by Walls, and it's incomplete.
Antrilli's pass is tipped at the line for an incomplete pass. That'll be third and 8.
So it'll be 3rd and 8 now.
Throwing a lot of shirts here.
They have a lot of them. And the rubber bands are coming apart as they're throwing them.
That one actually got pretty close to us.
Yeah. I think they have one left. You think you could do that? Stand on 3 people's hands?
And throw T-shirts?
I don't think I could do that.
I mean, I'm not sure.
I mean, I literally tripped over my own feet yesterday going home. I don't think that I don't think that I could ever do what those cheerleaders do.
Yeah, the one thing about
I don't have the arm strength.
Yeah, the one thing about Highland is during basketball season, our bleachers, there's some certain steps that are out of order.
Oh no.
Yeah, so there's a couple loose. It makes getting up and down the stands. Luckily, I didn't have to do it too many times, but I know of a couple people that have tripped going up there.
3rd and 9. Rush to the right side, gets a couple of yards, still well short of a first.
Luckily, here in Collingswood, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's
bleachers
sturdy.
here.
I'm not
yeah.
worried about it.
Right.
I was more talking about the cheerleaders that were standing, that they were holding their
Right.
hands under the feet, and they were holding up the person with 3 people. I mean, that's impressive stuff. It's 4th and 6. And again, this game right now is down to a battle of extra points. Collingswood has missed both of theirs. Actually, I'm sorry, they made one, they missed the other. Meanwhile, Clayton missed their first and then made a 2-point conversion to make up for it. Oh, we got movement. On the right, no, it looked like it was on the defensive line, I think. I think that was Jamal Brown again, and we do have offsides on the defense. That will help them, and now it will be 4th and short.
That's an offsides on Clayton.
And that's huge for
4th and 1.
And that's huge for Collingswood because this is obviously, just past midfield. Now it's go for it territory here. And in Trilly, we talked about limiting the turnovers, but for Clayton, it's going to be, are they able to limit the turnovers today? We saw our first one just a few moments ago.
Yeah, the question was originally on 4th and 6, do you go for it on 4th and 6? But now on 4th and, actually it looks like 4th and 2 now. Now it's a no-brainer.
A timeout here, maybe?
Timeout called by Collingswood. That is their second of the half. We're gonna take a look real quick with 3:37 left in the first half. Let's take a look at that replay that saw the turnover. This hit, bobble, catch, right there by number 12 for Collingswood. Some fantastic stuff. And Collingswood gets the ball back with their replay.
It was almost like that clip last night. I'm not sure if you saw between Winslow and IMG.
Oh, the front flip.
Yep.
Jalen Parker.
Yeah, so there was that, and then there was the other hit where it was a dump-off pass, and an IMG defender just knocked it out, and it went right into the hands of a fellow defender and took it to the house. That one obviously wasn't to the house, but still a huge play in this game.
Yeah, it's something fantastic. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, book an appointment today. Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex at Pittman, 614 Lambs Road. (14-13), Clayton over Collingswood. The difference right now is a 2-point conversion. The 2 touchdowns we've seen so far from Clayton, a 79-yard house call by Gabriel Hill on the first play of the offensive drive. Oh, jump, left guard, or excuse me, left tackle. Not the first time Collingswood has jumped in that situation, a big spot, and they now go back right to where they started. Clayton was offside. And now Collingswood gives it right back to him. And Lino Battaloni is coming out. So after a host of penalties, Antrilli will, well, Antrilli's remaining on the field, but I did see Lino Battaloni, the kicker and punter, come out. So I'm not exactly sure if they're, I'm not sure what they're going to do yet, unless Battaloni is going to be doing more than kicking and punting. No, Battaloni's lining up as a wide receiver, it looks like. Looks like they're going to go with 2 on each side. And they're going to pass immediately, stepping out of the pocket, guarded by Brown. It's incomplete, intended for Battaloni. And big coverage there by Clayton, broken up by Naeem Smith. And the Clippers will take over as, man, I give them effort for trying because they got that turnover from Clayton. Ball popped out of the runner's hands, and it landed right in Collingswood's defense hands. It literally didn't even hit the ground. It popped out, and it landed right in his hands. So they had a couple good plays. They were able to get something across, but nothing shows on the scoreboard after all. So it'll be 3:03. It looks like a little bit hard to read on the scoreboard. Again, tune in from Donald T. Fioretti Field tonight down in Point Pleasant Beach for a matchup between the South River Rams and the Point Pleasant Beach Garnet Gulls at 7 o'clock tonight. Wow, look at that. He got hit while he was getting the handoff. Trevor Rim. Handoff was to Figueroa, it looked like, on the left side. And they'll cut the distance in half. And it'll be 2nd and 5. Right at midfield, just about the 49.
Trevor Rim, a sophomore, just another part of this young, clean offense here. The solid run there, especially after almost going down in the backfield.
2nd and 4 from the 49. Handoff, left side. It's plenty good for a first down. They'll get a gain, looks like, of about 16 yards. And the rush by Deron Williams, who had the first touchdown after a fantastic offensive front by Clayton to get their first touchdown, or their second touchdown. But I'm still thinking we had back-to-back games where the first play on offense by the road team was a 60-plus yard rushing touchdown. We saw it with R.J. Pierce last night with Cumberland. First play of the night, Josh Davis hands it off to him, and he goes 61 yards to the house. And then the first play that Clayton sees, Gabriel Hill calls his own number and goes 79 yards to the house. Only a matter of time before we get another Derrick Henry 99-yarder. Ball's out. Ball's out. Who falls on it? Clayton's got it for a loss of 3, if not 4. And it'll be 3rd and long, it looks like. Actually, 2nd and long, sorry. 2 minutes left in the half. Stay tuned for the DWB halftime show at the conclusion of the halftime break. Myself and, again, my color commentator Colin Morris will go over what we saw in the first half and what we expect to see in half number 2. Left side, Deron Williams picks up another first down on 2nd and long, a gain of 16. I mean, Clayton is just painfully consistent for this Collingswood team. They made one mistake, and that was the turnover where the ball landed right in Collingswood's hands. Now that they're looking to remedy that mistake, because Collingswood really should have pounced when they had that opportunity. Now that they didn't, Clayton's got a minute and a half to score and potentially go up by 2 scores going into the halftime break. Williams gets snuffed at the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 9. As the band plays on. And again, time is of the essence. You've got, and speaking of time, we have timeout called by Clayton. Minute 14 left in the second. Will stay on the air as 14-13, maybe going into the halftime break with this score. We don't know if it's going to stay that way, but I'll tell you this, like I said, Collingswood really should have scored on that last drive, because now Clayton making them pay for the turnover on downs. Again, both teams traded off a mistake. Clayton had a turnover on that fumble. Collingswood had a mistake on that turnover on downs. But I'll tell you, if there was not that second false start, Collingswood might be in the end zone, because Clayton had the offside on the right defensive tackle, and then Collingswood had the false start on the left tackle on the offensive line. If that false start doesn't happen, I think Antrilli gets through. Maybe he rushes it to Luby, maybe he rushes it to Goffney. But I feel like this game is very different right now, just in my opinion, on one false start. That's just how I feel about it right now. Chamberlain calls his first timeout. Clayton has 2 remaining, Collingswood has 1. I promise you by the end of the weekend we'll get those timeout graphics up on the broadcast. Right now it's not too much of the essence, but probably in the 4th quarter tonight could matter. Up the middle. And again, doesn't get too far. Collingswood now finally making a strong stand on defense, holding Clayton to minimal gains on back-to-back plays.
Stop for a short game. 3rd and 7.
So no gain, under a minute, 3rd and 7. And again, in Group 1 football, if you're watching the NFL, it could be field goal range, but in high school football, there's really no such thing as field goal range, unless you've got a really, really good designated kicker for it. Some clouds going over to stadium here in the final 35 seconds. They send Walls in motion. We've got a penalty. He rolls out. This is his first pass of the night. He lets it go. He had a long time before he got sent to the ground by number 33.
And I believe they're saying he was down.
Are they saying he was down? I mean, I couldn't tell if his knee was down, but
Yeah.
the thing is, though, they have to stop the clock anyway because there was a penalty flag. There was a penalty flag while they sent the man in motion, and now they've got to figure out how to decipher this.
They are saying he was down, though.
They're going to spot it to 35 then.
Illegal formation.
Illegal
yeah.
formation. Well, you know what? As soon as I saw Walls go in motion for the fake jet sweep, I saw the flag come in as soon as the ball got snapped. Now, this is a question that I don't really know the answer to, is that in this situation, it's an illegal formation, but the play that followed was a sack. So it looks like they're going to spot it back at the 36.
I'd imagine
and Collingswood calls their final timeout. No, I'm sorry. I saw Collingswood make a motion. Clayton calls their second timeout.
Well, I would assume that they had him down as a sack. I would assume that the clock would continue running unless there was a timeout, obviously. And I would assume they declined the penalty as well.
Yeah, I just haven't seen that in a while, where you have an illegal formation call, but also the play that ensued was a sack.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the illegal formation was. I didn't have a chance to look back at it, but I just saw Walls going in for a fake jet sweep, and then the flag was thrown right as he got past the last man on his offensive line, the right tackle.
Yeah, I would make an assumption that's what the illegal motion was.
So 25 seconds left. So 25 seconds left. It's now 3rd and 17 as Clayton got hit with an illegal formation and a sack, double whammy. We've got some good folks tuning in here on this Friday morning. They run on 3rd and long. Enoch Figueroa, they do have one timeout remaining. Do they opt to use it? Clock still running, 15 seconds, and now the clock stops with 14.6. And I would believe that John Chamberlain has called his final timeout. They do. We'll take a quick break. 14.6 seconds left in the first half. It's Collingswood 13, Clayton 14. .14 seconds and change left in the first half. Turnover on downs after the rush on 4th and long. Collingswood gets one play. They rush it with Antrilli, and they are going to let that one run. At the end of the first half, it's a 1-point game. Just like last year, it's anybody's game, and it comes down to the fundamentals, and it comes down to the kicking teams. It's Clayton 14, Collingswood 13 at the end of the half. Stay tuned for some halftime entertainment with our DWB Archives series on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the DWB Halftime Show presented by Gray Fox Sports. And we've got 24 more minutes of WJFL Group 1 football here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. From the home of the Panthers, we'll be right back.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
And Argabright with a full count. Outfielders in communication for the Quakers. Everyone's looking around in a tie game, bottom of the sixth. The 3-2 payoff. Ground ball. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3. Alex Argabright has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the sixth inning. Eplite, he's, again, one time leaving the bases loaded is frustrating enough. Doing it twice in a row. Oh, how about this? Line drive. He's throwing it around the infield. They're going to throw him out at first. He's out. I have never seen that before. That is a 5-4-3 ground out. Because the third baseman thought he caught it. The home plate umpire said no. So he threw it around the infield and then got the out at first anyway because the batter thought he was out.
The batter stopped. The third baseman thought
Everybody
he caught
stopped.
it. And it touched.
Jersey is the number 2 seed. As we said, they beat Manville 19-0 in the first round, which was even larger than Audubon's 16-0 win over Paulsboro as the 1 seed in the first round. That one's hit out towards center field straight away. Oh, she misjudged it. Got over her head in center field. Now this one's got a chance to be 3 bases for Spire. She's flying around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is not in time. What a way to kick off a semifinal with an inside the park home run. Emma Spire, who will take her talents to the Great Danes after 2026, lights up the scoreboard.
with a fly ball that got misjudged in center field.
Literally, they've been here twice, and they're about to score, or on the doorstep of scoring 50 for the second game in a row. Xavier Terry Brown. He is still on his feet. He's being shoved forward into the end zone. But who's got the ball? Look at Jason Solomon. The ball magically appeared in Woodbury's hands, and now they're back at the 50. This one's going back. This one's going to go to the distance. I don't see any flags. Did that just go for 100 yards? I think it did. I do not see any flags as Woodbury. Oh my goodness, Jason Solomon have a day. He is the first man not named Taylor to score. Wow, that was good.
He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop it. It's going to go to the outfield wall. One run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game. A 3-run inside the Parker to the 2.
And this is going to bring up Andrew Petrick, who has a single in this game. And here's a fly ball popped up right field side. And it's fair. It's fair. They're going to throw to second for try to get this play, the force out. They got him, but the game is tied. How about it for Woodstown? They complete the comeback to make it 8-8. So now there is one out after Kubat let it fall in right, and because the bases were loaded, you know what? That's a very smart play.
Late switch for the visitors. Again inside their 5. Oh, they're going to pitch this one back for the flea flicker. Touchdown, West! Oh, my goodness! Taking inspiration from Nick Foles and Trey Burton. I think they just pulled off the Philly special. That is the greatest touchdown I have ever seen. Well, maybe not the greatest touchdown I've ever seen. Maybe that's stretching a little bit, but one of the greatest touchdowns we've seen in a long time. And it's a tie game.
Jack Mastero, 2 for 3 with a strikeout, a double, and a single. Looking to play hero. He's going to line this one into right center field, and that's going to drop. That's going to do it if they don't get a throw down. Mastero's going to second, and Danza's coming home. Sectional champions, Gloucester Catholic. They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable
1 half down, 1 half to go here from Collingswood High School. Very close game, just like it was last year. 14-13, Clippers lead at halftime. Colin, this has been a very interesting game, one that has been a game of passing for Collingswood and rushing for the Clippers. House call on the first play. Gabriel Hill, 79 yards on the first offensive snap for the Clippers. Meanwhile, they got a 10-yard rush late in the second quarter from Deron Williams, and they made a 2-point conversion to make it 14-13. That's where the score stands. How do you feel after this first half on how these two teams are jockeying at each other?
You know, I think I already said, I think we're in for a treat, and we definitely are at halftime. 1-point game. I mean, I really think it's going to come down to John Atrilli and this Clayton running game that they've been sticking with all game. If Collingswood can come out and stop that Clayton running game, they're going to be golden for the rest of this game. However, with Collingswood, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for this Clayton defense because they're getting it done in the air and on the ground with Caden Luby and John Atrilli at the helm. So it'll be tough for Clayton to make that adjustment. I think Collingswood has a slight edge. Even though they're down 1, I think they have a slight edge in terms of offense. So I really think it's going to be a down-to-the-wire game here, Dan.
That's where I'm a little bit conflicted about how Clayton and Collingswood have worked today, because both teams seem to have a little hiccup late. Clayton had that fumble that popped into Collingswood's hands,
right,
and then Collingswood returned it with a turnover on downs. So I think right now the biggest thing that I'm conflicted on is how many more mistakes are these teams going to make, because Collingswood is only losing by 1 point because they had an extra point missed. They made their first one from Lino Badaloni, and they missed their second one. Meanwhile, Clayton, they missed their first, but then came back with a 2-point conversion. If Collingswood scores, I could bank on Collingswood getting at least attempting a 2-point conversion with John Antrilli under center, because right now I think the biggest thing for Collingswood, they do not want the inverse of last year to happen. They won that game 30-26 because of extra points. Clayton struggled with extra points in the opening night game last year, and that's what won the game, 30-26. They do not want the reverse happening to them in 2025. But otherwise, I like how Clayton has diversified their offense with the graduation of Demetrius Williams. He rushed for 1,600, nearly 1,700 yards last year in a Clayton offense that had 6 times the amount of rushing yards than they had their passing and receiving combined.
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff. And they still have only attempted 1 passing play, and that was a sack with an illegal formation. So nothing really has changed for Clayton except for the personnel. The coaches are the same, just the players are a little different, except for the one under center, Gabriel Hill. And again, the first play that he had, 79-yard pass, fantastic stuff. We're going to flip this camera back around, and we've got a kickoff with quarter number 3, 14-13, Collingswood trailing Clayton.
Spot for Collingswood, Lino Badaloni.
Badaloni will kick off, and Clayton will receive to start the second half. Here from Collingswood High School again, I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris on the call. Damian Waiters producing this. I guess is it the afternoon now? No, it's not. It's still 11:46.
Feels like we've been here for a while, Dan.
Well, we've been here since, what, 9:30? Yeah,
it feels like we've been here a while. But
well, they moved the original kickoff up by a half hour. When we originally scheduled this game, it was 11 o'clock. A couple days ago, they changed it to 10:30. And Badaloni will kick. Clippers to receive, up by 1. And the second half has begun here from Clayton, from Collingswood.
Kickoff's received by Nasir Walls.
Nasir Walls with a rush. He's got a block. And Lino Badaloni, the kicker, assisted in making the stop. And Clayton will start their first drive of the second half from their own 36. Again, Nasir Walls on the return. One of 3 players with the last name Walls on this team: Haven Walls, Nasir Walls, and Quaddy Walls. And we'll see if Clayton utilizes any of those 3 on this first offensive drive of the second half. But again, the little things are what's going to change this game. If Clayton gets a score here, they were fantastically consistent in their last drive leading up to that Deron Williams touchdown. They had 4 or 5 plays in a row of 8 or more yards. They had one of 8, they had one of 10, then they had a 16-yard gain, and then they were set up perfectly for a 10-yard dash by Deron Williams to get into the end zone for their second touchdown of the night. But still, right now as we stand, it's anybody's game. And that's one of the things that I love, is that this, just like last year, almost like nothing's changed, it's still anybody's game. Using a lot of head force to move forward. The rush, I believe that was number 6, Trevor Rem on the rush, gets himself a Clippers first down.
And you see the Clayton Clippers using,
Clayton 14.
and that's Badaloni again cashing in for that 2-point conversion, giving Collingswood a 7-point lead, and that's huge. As we said last year, Dan, that was the theme of that 2024 opening weekend is those conversions, and that's a big one for Collingswood to put them up by 7.
Sorry about the delay, everybody. I sincerely apologize. What you missed? Well, unfortunately, you missed the first score of the second half. Caden Luby scored a 2-yard rushing touchdown out to the right side. It was highlighted by John Antrilli getting out of the pocket and flipping the field with some good catches by Elgin Baylor, and then a Lino Badaloni catch for about 20 yards to get them into the red zone and on the cusp of scoring. And then again, Luby finished the job with a 2-yard rush. The 2-point conversion as we came back was successful, and the score is now 21-14. So again, I apologize for the glitch. We had something wrong with our laptop, and I had to fix it. So I do sincerely apologize that our stream is being or was interrupted. Kicked off and returned by Clayton up to the 40-ish yard line.
Tackled by Ududu Adion.
.323 left in the third quarter as we return to action. The action has been going on, but our cameras were a little dormant for a little while. But as people start to tune back in again, well, if you're a Collingswood fan, you would hope they score again so that you can see it this time. Again, Caden Luby had a 2-yard rush to the right, and then a 2-point conversion was successful. So now the score is a little bit more traditional, 21-14 Collingswood. They lead this thing with 3.5 minutes in the third. Hill, handoff, snuffed at the goal line, or at the line of scrimmage by Deron Williams. Second down and 10.
And like we talked about, I'm not sure if this was heard on the broadcast or not, but
well, it stopped at 11 minutes. So if you said it during that time frame, you'll have to get a mulligan here.
So Collingswood, as I said, with that touchdown, it was huge. That conversion, as we talked about early on in 2022 when they opened with this very game, conversions is really what came down to the wire there, and that's a huge one for Collingswood to put them up by 7.
And like I said, probably it was cut off the air, but what I mentioned was that Clayton has been very consistent in their rushing game. Hill hands off to the right side to Rem, diving forward. Had a one-handed grasp on the ball that he extended forward with his left hand up to the 44. Lucky he didn't fumble that one away. As again, it's now 2:20 and counting in the third. Just joining us, or if you're rejoining us after our technical glitch, our technical difficulties, it's 21-14 Collingswood. Caden Luby took the lead on a 2-yard rush to the right side. 2-point conversion was successful as we were coming back on the air, and we've got movement. Question is, who jumped first? I think I could tell. I think I could tell who was offside.
Disapproval from the
That's the Collingswood coach to our right.
coach behind us, yeah.
He said, how does the nose guard jump offside? Got the Clayton coaches to our left.
Oh, we got a false start on Clayton.
Oh, false start on Clayton? Okay. Sometimes it throws us off like that. It looks like maybe it's going on one side and then it gets flipped. But
He'll have to retract his words there, that coach.
Yeah. Well, Collingswood again led by Mike McEwen in his 9th year as a head coach with the Panthers. Has a whole lot of school records with LaSalle, was a longtime wide receiver with the LaSalle Explorers. And again, meanwhile, John Chamberlain, the 2019 grad of McDaniel College, who was a running back there, and a Williamstown grad, class of 2014, and we've got penalties. So maybe I take back what I said about this game not having as many penalties as last year. Had 2 in a row now. Delay of game on Clayton, so that'll send him back to 3rd and long. I want to make one interesting point about tonight's game between South River and Point Pleasant Beach, kickoff at 7 o'clock. I got a text from the head coach, Joseph Zaccone, and I asked for like facts, tidbits that I should know about the school or about the game or about the history. And he said that 30% of the entire male population of the Point Pleasant Beach High School is on the football team. Imagine you go to Highland. Imagine if 30% of the high school of the men in the high school were on the football team. That's crazy.
Yeah. You'd
have like 5 teams, but there's only 299 total people enrolled.
Right.
And about 150 of them are guys. It's incredible stuff. Roll out to the left by Clayton on 3rd and long after a delay of game. Hello! That's Caden Luby with the shoulder pad popped out. Lets that one fly to the left side, right in front of Collingswood's sideline. And the hit made on Willie Weathers on the rush, and we're going to have another player down for Clayton, number 44, Ethan Rodriguez. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester campus. Become a Roadrunner today by visiting their online website for athletics at rcroadrunners.com. You can also become a Roadrunner in the academic sense by visiting their website, rcsj.edu. Broadcast is also brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, 614 Lambs Road. Got some good B-roll of the Collingswood downtown, just a couple of blocks from here. If you walk a little bit past the field, you'll line up with the Collingswood Fire Department and the Patco trains. I don't know if it's because I have the headset on, but I haven't heard any trains today. I think it's just because I've been talking and I can't hear it through the headset, but it's 4th and 5. From their own 44. Handoff up the middle. It's going to be short. It will be short. Collingswood ball. Turnover on downs and a flag well after the play is over. This might be trouble. That flag came in from the referee on the far side, right around the 40-yard line. Here's the thing, though, is there might be a personal foul or something like that after the play. And
seems like a little bit of disapproval from the Collingswood sideline.
I think it's something on Collingswood because that's the body language on the sideline. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Collingswood. That's going to be an automatic Clayton first down. Man, that silenced this crowd really quickly. They were cheering because they had a turnover on downs.
Well,
after a rush went short on 4th and 4.
Is that a first down for Clayton, or because it happened after the play?
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry.
I thought so.
No, you're right. I'm sorry.
It would just be 15 yards.
Because it was after the play. No, you're right. My apologies.
So it would essentially be a punt, almost, in a way.
Basically,
for Clayton.
Yeah. I see that so many times in youth football where there's sometimes a team gets a little bit undisciplined, gets a little bit rowdy, and you get an unsportsmanlike conduct call after the play, and when you have a 15-yard penalty, well, in Pee Wee football or Pop Warner football, that's basically a punt. You're flipping the field that way. Collingswood starts out on their own 40. Luby gets 7 yards. He's at the 47. 15 seconds left in the third quarter. And another man down for Clayton. Yeah, that is Rodriguez again.
Yeah, that one never feels good. He kind of swung Luby to the ground. There's always a way of, jamming something up. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with him, but that was time expiring on the third quarter as well. We'll see if they put any time back on.
I would imagine they got to put some time back on because there was 15 seconds left, and then Rodriguez went down for a second time in this drive, or in this stretch of whatever you want to call it, the stretch of time. I would imagine you put maybe 10 seconds on the clock. I'm not sure, but I would say somewhere between 10 and 12. I'd be surprised personally if they don't put any time back on the clock because of the injury timeout. But don't forget to tune in later tonight for Group 1 football down the shore. We travel, first of all, I'm not going to be too happy with the shore traffic because it's going to be the Friday of Labor Day weekend, and we're headed to Point Pleasant. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't want to be going to Wildwood or Atlantic City tonight. I would not want to be going there with all that traffic on the Atlantic City Expressway. But luckily, we're going to Point Pleasant Beach. We've got the South River Rams and the Point Pleasant Beach Garnet Gulls, 7 o'clock tonight, under the leadership of Joseph Zaccone. And then tomorrow, we travel from up there in north of the Jersey Shore all the way down to the opposite end for the Paulsboro Red Raiders and the Pennsgrove Red Devils, a battle of red on the 295 corridor at the home of the Red Devils, a rematch from last year that ended in a one-score, low-scoring affair, 12-7, with Paulsboro victorious. That game starts at 12 noon. And then week 1 action, we've got more Thursday, Friday, Saturday action. Starting off with Pennsauken and Washington Township. That is going to be a fantastic game. Pennsauken and Washington Township on Thursday. 6 o'clock kickoff from Tom Brown Field. And then we're over to the Hawks Nest, Manchester Township, for more Shore Conference football. The Barnegat Bengals and the Manchester Township Hawks. They are honoring Athletic Director Keith Lister, who is retiring that day after 38 years of service in Manchester Township. That'll be a 6 p.m. kickoff. Pregame ceremony starts at 5:45, and the pregame show starts at 5:30. They are not putting any time on the clock. As far as I'm concerned, they're letting this one run out. And so we'll stay on the air going to the 4th. (21-14). So as it stands, I mean, listen, this is a one-score game that really still can go either way. It's 2nd and 3. Rush to the right side. Should be enough for a first down. And they will flip the sticks on the first play of the 4th quarter. As we were saying, though, Barnegat and Manchester Township Friday night, and then Morris Catholic and Gloucester Catholic in a North versus South parochial battle from Gloucester City High School, because Gloucester Catholic does not have a permanent football field. They play all their home games at Gloucester City. That'll be Saturday, 11 a.m. from J.A. Lynch Field in Gloucester. Been a pretty entertaining game so far. I mean, listen, we had a bit of a rip the Band-Aid off moment with Gabriel Hill going 79 yards to the house for Clayton. The rush by Goffney. Clayton had to let go there after the whistles flew. Stop made by Chase Schley, number 21. Again, just a heads up, this is a coverage of WJFL football between Collingswood and Clayton on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. For the majority of athletic events that we cover, we do not get paid. We get covered by our advertisers and folks like you that contribute to us through our Venmo at DW Broadcasting. DW Broadcasting, no spaces, no hyphens. I'm a second-year student at the Rowan College of South Jersey in Gloucester. My colleague to my right, Colin Morris, he's a rising junior at Highland Regional and is a fantastic gentleman to work with as Antrilli goes out of bounds at the pylon and crashes into the Clayton sideline for 3rd down. But obviously with the technical glitch today, I understand why you might not be inclined to. But if you would like to make a contribution to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we do have a Venmo at DW Broadcasting. All funds go towards my college expenses, equipment expenses, because these pieces of equipment are not cheap, and put them all together, and it's certainly not cheap. You could probably buy an old beat-up car for how much our equipment costs, and well, of course, travel expenses as well, considering we're going to Point Pleasant Beach tonight, Pennsgrove tomorrow, and let's just say that's a lot of mileage on my old Ford Escape. DW Broadcasting, no spaces, no hyphens. Either way, let's get back to the action. Two receivers to the left, and Trilly for the second play in a row going out of the pocket. It's caught by Baylor. First down, Collingswood. It got ripped down, and are we having another cramp? Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's struggling to get up, Figueroa. He was able to get up on his own power, but they're literally trying to punch the cramp out of his leg. The old Charlie horse.
John Trilly just, rolling out to the left like he has been most of the game. Hits Baylor in the open field. That's good hands by Baylor, too. He was pretty tightly guarded. He just went back to that ball to get it and gets the first down with forward progress.
First down and then 10 after Baylor gets the pass. Third time in a row, and Trilly scrambles out of the pocket, fires, almost intercepted. It was a little bit low. The intended receiver was Bataloni, and the defensive man, Chase Schley, almost came up with it, but the pass again a little bit short. A lot of clouds coming over the stadium tonight here at Collingswood. 71 degrees today. Fantastic weather for Labor Day weekend. Sure, some folks will be headed down the shore just like we will. Of course, the battle at the beach at Rowan University tonight. I liked it a little bit better when it was at Egg Harbor Township because that's down the shore. Egg Harbor is down the shore. Rowan, you're like 30 miles from the nearest body of water. One's over the middle by Luby. He's going to get half the distance to the first down. It'll be at the 30, second down and mid-range. Now, of course, third down here. 3rd and 6 here for Luby after that rush. But either way, what I'm saying is it's not really much of a battle at the beach if you're in Glassboro. But listen, I've got a lot of respect for Mike McEwen, John Emmel, the folks that run the NJSIAA, the Battle at the Beach. They do a fantastic job. There's been so much buzz over last night's contest that you don't know how to top it tonight. IMG and Winslow, that was actually a competitive game. I think the final score was 28-14. And then Bergen Catholic and East St. Louis of the Illinois border. #1 team in Jersey versus the #1 team in Illinois. And how about this? Caden Luby rolls across the line of threshold, and it'll be a first down up to the 25 for another 6-yard rush.
Yeah, 35-14. That Winslow IMG game was absolutely excellent last night. Obviously
that was after IMG led 21-0 in the first quarter.
Correct, and a ton of highlights came out of that as well. Just watching from D2 Sports and all the others, Tom McGurk, Kevin Minnick. So
all the folks who were down there.
Right. So it was.
And McGurk is here tonight.
It was the spot to be last night for sure.
How about that Jalen Parker front flip touchdown?
Yeah, I'll be seeing them and the Winslow Eagles next week
on Tartan TV.
Yes, sir.
Best of luck to you. There's a handoff to Goffney. Up the middle, takes it up the gut, and tackles and whistles in that order.
Yeah, very excited for that, our first football broadcast against Winslow. Of course, Coach Sean Daniels has been the most help for us, so we appreciate him very much over there, and he's doing just a fantastic job with that program, and really can't wait to watch him get to work this year.
I'm very excited to see what you guys have to offer. Obviously, you're leading that program over at Highland, the Tartan TV. Make sure you give them a follow, because they've got a fantastic crew going forward, and Colin is a rising junior at Highland Regional, leading the way. Under center for Trilly. Goffney gets room. Goffney is gone. He is in. Touchdown, Collingswood. 2-score game. Terrence Goffney with the house call from 20 yards. Took it to the left and now makes this game a lot more interesting, at least in terms of Collingswood's chances of winning, as they now lead this thing 27-14. Just a simple play. I like it. Took it to the left, got his blocks.
And that's really what they've been doing all day, right? It's been these long drives, these long-winded drives, and it's just giving Collingswood a chance to get down the field and then pass it, and then punch it in with the run game. It's been very consistent.
Well, the extra point is no good, so the score stands at 27 for Collingswood, 14 for Clayton. Collingswood scored 30 last year when they came in the Haupt Field and they sunk the boatyard. Now they look to sink the boatyard at home this time at Collingswood High School. The Wrestling Center to our left, the Cooper River to our right. Some fantastic trails down there. I almost went today and I almost wanted to get some B-roll of the One Love Bridge in Collingswood. I think it's in Collingswood proper, but just some fantastic history here. I mean, Collingswood is one of the best downtowns in South Jersey. I wish there was more places to park, but that's besides the point. But listen, we love coming to Collingswood. Mike McEwen's a great guy. He's down to earth. The only guy that I know that is dressed up as Crisscross for Halloween, the 90s rap duo. And he posted it on Twitter last year. He said, I don't think any kids in my class recognize it, because he's also a math teacher at Collingswood. That's what I love about Group 1 football. And honestly, just South Jersey high school football in general. Mike Wilson, the new head coach at Clearview, is a history teacher at Middle Township and travels every day from Cape May Courthouse to Mullica Hill, maybe 2 hours each way, to coach his football team. He did the same at Shalleck as well when he coached there in Salem County. Battaloni with a line drive kick. It is returned at the 38 and doesn't get too far. That kick returned by Hakeem Brown. And Clayton gets the ball back. 7:22 to play in the fourth quarter. 28-14. I'll tell you, though, a lot more entertaining than we saw last night, and happy that we got our our first Friday game of the year to be a good one, with Collingswood up by 2 scores.
Yeah, and I'm glad although, a Friday morning August game on Labor Day weekend isn't, the most normal timing, but for us, it's very good for us at DWB, obviously able to get out here, and you guys are still able to do a game tonight.
Figueroa tackled hard in the backfield. And a somersault. Wow. He lost maybe, that was Josiah Edmonds on the tackle that time. It's going to be a loss of 4. And they'll be back at the 39. How about that for a enthusiastic celebration?
Yeah, and this Collingswood, fan section here in the sideline starting to get a little rowdy here with under 7 minutes in the fourth, up by 2, looking to improve to 1-0 for their Panthers for the second straight year against Clayton.
And again, Collingswood had a good start last year, but ended up finishing with a worse regular season than the Clippers. Clippers finished 5-4-1. We saw Clayton 3 times last year. We saw them versus Collingswood on opening night. I don't think it was opening night. I think it was the day after opening night, same with Friday. And then we saw them in week 2 versus Haddon Township. And we saw them in week 8 in their last regular season game versus Paulsboro, a game that they lost 41-7. And we'll be, for our Clippers fans back at home, we will be back in Clayton on Thanksgiving Day, 10:30 a.m. kickoff on November 27th for the 100th edition. Oh, hold on here. Gabriel Hill's going to pass. It's his second of the night, and it's caught. Let's see. Collingswood doesn't think that it's caught.
He got it.
It is complete. Nicer Walls. They flipped the field for the first time tonight. And with under 6 minutes left, Gabriel Hill showing off the arm there. And that's his first completion in just his second attempt.
Not too bad on the night. One for 2, I guess, for Hill. I mean, it was a nice throw right on the sideline. He led him well. I mean, it wasn't any kind of bullet pass, but he got the job done, and it flips the field, and Clayton desperately needed that with under 6 to go.
Figueroa on the jet sweep. Oh, and a big hit. Left side, Figueroa gets up okay, and it's going to be second in mid-range.
Ball is placed on the 30-yard line.
And Figueroa, just another guy that the Clippers have been working in on that run game. He's been doing it on defense as well. He was cramping just a little bit ago, but glad to see him back in the game.
Well, one of the things that's been interesting, like we said before about Clayton, was the fact that they've really diversified the run game. They've gone to a multitude of different backs in today's contest, and they go to another one with Deron Williams, who dives forward on 2nd and 5. So they pass for the first time in the half They complete it to the right side for Nasir Walls.
Ball is placed on the 25-yard line.
And now they're at the 25, 3rd and short, as Clayton looks to muster their way back into this game.
And if you're Collingswood, you just really got to hope that, you know, that extra point doesn't come back to bite you at the end of the game there.
We have an official's timeout. Are we getting another measurement? No, training staff coming out.
As they're only up 13 here. So 4:45, a score here for Clayton would put the pressure on Collingswood, and it would mean that Clayton defense would have to step up, but we'll see what happens here with under 5 minutes.
Well, I think of it this way. Clayton had that 1-point lead going into the half because of a 2-point conversion that they made. So if they score here, wouldn't be surprised if they try to go for 2. Because if they do, you then make it 27-22. And if you do make it 27-22, you only need 5 points. Now, at the same time, though, would you rather have it be 27-22 or 27-21? Because if you tie the game from there, well, guess what? Then you've got a tie game 27-27 if the extra point is missed. It's a point of, you know, do you gamble to try to guarantee a lead, or do you play it safe? Here's Williams, left side. He's got plenty of room for a first down. He's at the 10, still on his feet. Whistles fly at the 5. And Collingswood with their backs against the wall again, as Clayton, who scored 14 points in the first half, including their first touchdown on the first play that John Chamberlain drew up. They now look to get into the end zone for the first time since a halftime break.
First and goal, Clayton.
I think they had him stepping out of bounds right at the 10, it looks like.
First and goal from the 10. Up the middle. Williams dives forward.
He's close.
He is very close.
Up the middle for Clayton.
Excuse us 1 second while we switch a piece of equipment. Camera will go black for about 15 seconds. All right, there we go. Reason why I say that is because at Collingswood, this is one of the few places where we do not have a direct power source to the press box or whatever. So we brought our usual solar batteries that we normally use for baseball and soccer and basketball. Up the middle, got a chance. It's good. Clayton, touchdown. And the Boatyard gets to sail again as the Clippers get it in. And it's now a one-score game, 27-20. And remember, they're 1 for 2 in post-TD conversions. They missed their first extra point, made up for it with a 2-point conversion. And Gabriel Hill is going out. Their normal kicker/punter would be Nicholas Norrie, as a 1-yard, maybe 2-yard rush by the Clippers. Scored by Naeem Smith. They'll go for 2. Is it in there? Is it? Is it?
He got, I don't believe it is.
No, it's no good. 2-point conversion, no good. Clippers missed their first 2-point conversion after making the prior one in the first half, and it's now a 7-point game. 27-20, just like last year. It feels just like last year. Collingswood had a 2-score game at one point in that contest last year. Clayton came back, got a score. Now there's 3:43 left. Here's the thing, though. First of all, the officials are all meeting here at the end zone.
Well, we talked about Clayton getting into the end zone there, so huge, but what some people might not realize, and we keep talking and talking about it, Dan, is those conversions and how big they are. And Clayton just missed on a conversion there, and Collingswood missed on their last touchdown conversion now, which leaves it a 7-point game. But that could be huge coming back. They could determine a tied game or a 1-point game even at the end. We'll see what happens here.
That's the thing, is that right now, my point of action is that it's a 7-point game. Clayton has attempted one regular PAT and missed it. Their other 2 touchdowns, they attempted 2-point conversions, and they're 50-50 on that. So what if Collingswood turns the ball over and Clayton gets it back and scores? Well, you can either kick it a PAT, which you haven't done yet, and try to tie it, or you can go for 2, put all your cards on the table, push all your chips in, and try to win the game outright, 28-27. The only obstacle in that is that if Collingswood doesn't turn the ball over, this game could be over with no 2-minute warning or anything like that. But right now, it's just under 4 minutes left. I wouldn't be surprised if we do not see Antrilli go to the air at all the rest of the night. Just rush, 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 try to get a couple of big first downs. That's going to be a big kick by Clayton. It's returned by Goffney at the 15. Breaks a couple tackles and gets out of bounds around the 30 with Goffney returning. Nasir Walls and Justin Holloway in on the defense. Love that drum line from Clayton to our right. I love when both marching bands are like kind of in our ears. It brings some great football atmosphere. This place is just a good football atmosphere. I don't even care that there's no press box. In a place that's a little bit further from home, if they didn't have a press box, I would consider not going. But this is a nice little small town. It's only 10 minutes from my home. And you've got the wrestling center on the left. You've got the Cooper River on the right. You've got some houses in the background. I could just see somebody in that second floor window watching this game, although both windows are closed. I would imagine, though, don't have to pay for Collingswood football. You can just watch it right in your backyard. Or you can watch it on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We've got 3.5 minutes left. 4-yard gain by Collingswood. I believe Goffney was on the carry that time.
Shameless plug.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's entirely shameless. All of my plugs are shameless.
Yeah, no, it's been a very, very solid game today. Again, thank you, Dan, for having me on. I'm always happy to help when I can with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, and obviously Dame doing a great job over there on the production. And
of course.
And an excellent atmosphere.
It's his first football game as well for the West Deptford grad.
Yeah, me too.
Joined us, well, you joined us sometime last year, but here comes the handoff to Goffney. Hit by Rodriguez and hit by number 70, Jamal Brown.
Yeah, and I've also
name a couple times.
I've also never done a football game with Dan Wilkins, so it's only been baseball for me. But very excited to get on today and come to Collingswood. Super excited for the 2025 football season for not just Highland, but for also this for DWB. So
get to see a little bit of everything this year.
Yeah, it's been excellent being on today, and I'm very happy I could attend.
Again, my good colleague Colin Morris to my right today. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Damian Waiters on the production. Again, tune in at 7 p.m. tonight for Shore Conference action. It's actually going to be a cross-conference play between Big Central and the Shore Conference. Got movement. They didn't call it. Oh, boy. I mean, there was some obvious movement on the defensive line. Collingswood called the timeout. The question was whether he broke the plane. That was number 66, Wilhelm Pfeiffer, who it looked like he jumped, but I don't know if he crossed the neutral zone is the question. But the thing is that he kept looking back at the secondary and then turned back around, and then Collingswood called a timeout. This is Collingswood's first timeout of the half. I got a correction. That is to our right. That is Newton Lake. Over to our right, just beneath the Collingswood downtown. But either way, though, again with Collingswood calling the timeout after some pretty clear movement to me.
And that would have.
But again, it's not a matter of whether he moved. It's a matter of whether he crossed a neutral zone.
Right, and that would have been huge here. It's 3rd and 5, so an offside would have been automatic first down. We're under 2 minutes in this game.
And I think that's why Collingswood was as upset as they were, because if they get a first down, they've already chewed off a minute and a half. They've got a minute 56 left. If you get a first down, Clayton gets to use their timeouts, and they're not going to get a first, I don't think. They might.
Luby was very close.
It was very close for Luby. I thought he was maybe a half yard or a yard short. This could require a measurement. Collingswood obviously wants the first down. I'd imagine that they would go for it if this is short.
I'll be very interested to see what Coach McCowan decides to do here.
They're spotting it at the 41.
College Place to the 41-yard line.
You can see the pylons on the top left of your screen. They're going to have a measurement here. And no light pole in the way. Let's take a look. They've got to make sure that that chain, the guy on the left side, his chain moved. He got it. First down, Collingswood, and that could be the game. They called for the measurement. Mike McEwen credits his assistant. And this game could be wraps here in Collingswood with under 2 minutes left. I don't believe Clayton has used any timeouts, but they'll have 3 of them left, assuming that they do. I don't remember Clayton using any timeouts.
Collingswood has used one.
Collingswood has used one, but that's not the point of concern here. I would imagine they'll need one more stop. And Trilly back in the I form. They're lined up at the 41-yard line as maybe by half of a football. They get a first down. Hand off Luby. Snuffed out at the line of scrimmage. And timeout Clayton, of course.
And down the road here as this game winds down with 1:26 to go, it's going to be on Caden Luby to hang on to that ball. I would be very surprised if, Coach McEwen and Coach Leary decided to put the ball in anyone else's hands.
Absolutely. Luby is going to be that guy that is going to get you the most of what you want. Obviously, in earlier parts of the game, you can experiment a little bit more. You can go with your second back, your third back, but RB1 is what you want in a situation like this. Under a minute and a half to play, one-score game. Obviously, timeouts are going to be called a whole bunch by Clayton here, but the main point of concern, once again, is that I will have to confirm that Clayton has 2 timeouts left because I believe that's their first. But either way, Collingswood just needs a first down. But that is a promising stop by Clayton. They only allowed 1 yard on that play versus Luby. But does it also help? Does it also help Clayton that they know that they're going to run? Obviously, it doesn't make sense for you to pass in this situation. It never does. That's what you've got. Right now, it is 1:24. They'll rush left side. Tackle to the ground hard. Rodriguez in on that one, and I believe Luby on the carry. And another timeout called by Clayton. Number 52, Roderick Harper, in on that one. And number 44, Ethan Rodriguez, and number 76, Lucas Freeman. That is their last timeout. Just heard it from the public address there. My apologies. So there's a minute 15. You know what? I think Clayton might have used one in the third quarter, if I recall correctly. You know what? That was when I remember now, that was when the false start was. Because they called a timeout, and then it was weird because they called a timeout, and then they had a false start, and then they got a first down. So it was kind of a wasted first down, and now with 1 timeout remaining, it is still 3rd and 9 from the 41-yard line. But I'm telling you, Colin, if they get a first down, or if they're able to kneel this out, a half a football won the game. Because I don't know what Clayton could have done with a minute and a half on the clock. We saw that same scenario happen last year. Clayton had about a minute 45 in their final drive down by 4. Hill was forced to pass because he needed to flip the field really quickly. Couldn't do it. That was where the final was. Now, this game is not as high scoring as it was last year, but it's not far off.
No, it's really not.
It's 27-20. Last year was 30-26. So a very similar game, and there's a reason why we picked this game up as a repeat from last year, because we knew that last year was fantastic. Caden Luby still continuing to shine, and Clayton showing that they don't need as much work as we thought they did with Demetrius Williams gone.
And I think this is just a case where Collingswood, if they're able to close this game out, I believe it was just, it's obviously they have the, upper hand with, a Trilly at the helm, and
pitches it back to Luby.
And Luby.
Not going to get a first down there. So now it's 4th down, and Clayton is out of timeouts. Now the clock started with, the play ended with about 1:08. So if you have 40 seconds, you have 68 seconds left. Well, Clayton's got a cramp here. What do you do in this situation if you don't have any timeouts? And isn't it injury timeout with under 2 minutes as a timeout charged?
I believe so.
And then if you don't have any timeouts, they've got another cramp going on there. And that's on number 52. Again, Roderick Harper, who's made a couple tackles for Clayton tonight.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, like I was saying before that play, I think coming down to the wire of this game, it's going to be just the offense. I think it's just going to be Collingswood just going to be out-dueling Clayton when it comes to that. But, you know, Clayton, obviously, like you said, really, I mean, this game could have very easily, if Atrilli came out and was firing the ball over and Luby was just running it like he was last year, it could have very easily been a blowout. But Clayton hanging tough with them following, you know, their graduate running back, Demetrius Williams, last year, obviously was most of their offense. But, you know, they've hung with Collingswood, and this is a great game every year. So, you know, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens here with 101 left.
Clayton going forward in this 2025 campaign, they have back-to-back home games starting out at the Boatyard on Thursday, September 4th, between Mastery Camden, the Warriors, and Clayton. Then they face Haddon Township on Friday, September 12th. Then they've got 2 road games, Gloucester Catholic on Saturday the 20th, and Gateway Friday the 26th. Overbrook on the 3rd, Sterling on the road on the 10th, and then they close out with Paulsboro on the 25th, and of course the 100th Thanksgiving edition versus Pittman, Thursday, November 27th. For Collingswood, they are on the road versus Overbrook, and in fact, it's only at the end of the regular season that they have 2 home games in a row. They're home to Clayton, away to Overbrook, home to West Deptford, away to Paulsboro, home to Haddon Township, away at Sterling and Audubon, and then home for the last 2 weeks of the regular season, Camden Catholic and Pennsville. The clock is running down. We have 25 seconds left. How far are they going to go here? And Collingswood is going to call a timeout with 19.6 on the clock. So pretty smart play. Obviously a traditional one, but move the clock down as far as you can. And they'll probably punt, try to get Clayton in bad field position, and force a Hail Mary ending to this ball game with 20 seconds. So timeout called by Collingswood. They used their second. Of course, Clayton burned their final timeout during that clock-wasting drive. So they now have 19.6 seconds left. And honestly, this is where Clayton kind of runs out of options. It almost feels like you're racing towards the inevitable, where Clayton has ran down this time. They used out their timeouts. They held Collingswood. Badaloni will go back to punt. You use about 8 to 10 seconds on the punt attempt with Rem back to return. I would have to assume, oh, they jumped! Clayton jumped! And with under 4 yards to go, Collingswood is gonna win this one on their own terms. The nose tackle jumped. That is going to do it. So no need to punt. Riley Traum is the one to jump. And the Panthers, for the second year in a row, will escape with a 1-score victory at home. Had a feeling this game was going to go down to who made the least amount of mistakes. And indeed, it will do so. John Antrilli with the men in the maroon, or rather the navy blue and gold. Is Collingswood calling a timeout? What's going on here?
I mean, it's again, Collingswood has had Clayton, you know, off balance.
We had a false start on a kneel. I have never seen that before. We just had a false start on a kneel. So with 19.1 seconds left, now they will kneel. And the Collingswood Panthers take this one at home, 27-20. Second year in a row. This time they do it at home. And the Panthers win with a 1-score game after trailing by a point at the half. It was 13-14, Clayton in front. Clayton started off the game hot with a 79-yard rush off the quarterback Gabriel Hill, and it concludes with 2 unanswered scores. Clayton got 1 back late, but Collingswood was able to chew up 3.5 minutes on the final drive and a false start, or excuse me, an offsides on Collingswood's punt attempt by the nose tackle ends up winning the game for the Panthers. Final score 27-20. Collingswood improves to 1-0 on the campaign going into their home game, their road game versus Overbrook next Friday. And then they have a home game for Clayton, falling to 0-1 with Mastery Camden on Thursday night, September the 4th. Colin, let's jump down to the front real quick, and let's discuss, if I don't knock over all of my equipment while I'm at it. Thank you, Damien. Took us to break? Yeah.
It's probably a good call.
Okay, perfect. 27-20, the final DWB postgame show presented by Harper Driving School. Man, what a good night that was for Collingswood. It wasn't an easy night, but it felt very similar to last year's game between these two teams. Last year was 30-26. This year was 27-20. A lot to talk about tonight, but one of the big things, Collingswood really got to see John Antrilli shine as a senior. Got to see him pass a lot. Obviously, he attempted 90 or more passes in his junior year. Got to see that really shine through tonight. But what I really enjoyed from Collingswood was their diversity. They were able to pass the ball. They were able to run the ball. They always kept Clayton guessing. Meanwhile, Clayton, they attempted 2 passes the entire night. One was complete, which was a good pass, and then the other one was a sack and an illegal formation. So when you have a team that you know exactly what they're going to do, you can prep a lot more for how their defensive schemes are going to run. So, first of all, how'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about Collingswood's performance and about the game overall?
Well, Collingswood, first time out, as I talked about in the pregame show, new offensive coordinator, new D coordinator, both Highland guys, and, Brian Leary, it doesn't get much better, right? A former head coach, had a ton of success at Highland, and bringing him in as an offensive coordinator, I mean, he's already an offensive coach in general, and he did an outstanding job with a new offense. John Antrilli, senior quarterback, has obviously been in Collingswood, obviously, entering his 4th season. But just really a great adjustment by Collingswood to new coordinators, then a new season where they're coming off only a 3-win season. They get one back, and yes, they started hot early on last year, but this is a great win. This is a really, really solid win for Collingswood. Clayton is nothing to take shy of. Obviously, last year it was Demetrius Williams, right? It was Demetrius Williams. That was the offense. That's really what it was, Collingswood versus Clayton defense and Demetrius Williams. So that's what the kind of the challenge was last year. This year, it very easily, Collingswood could have rolled over. We lost our senior running back, could have rolled over. Been a blowout game, blowout win for Collingswood on opening weekend. However, it was not. They fought hard, and they stayed in the game most of the time. Obviously, 2-score possession was all that separated them until the very end, but that pass was huge. At the very end, it really set them up for a late game score there, and they were just one penalty away from getting the ball back.
Yeah, I don't know what this game would have been if that false start didn't happen, or the offsides rather, by that nose tackle for Clayton. I mean, it really just an unfortunate situation where, I mean, listen, the Group 1 football in Week 0 is never going to be a perfect product. We didn't see much in the first quarter, but we saw a lot of cramps at the end. We saw a lot of flags at the end. It wasn't undisciplined. It was just unprepared. And I think that as both of these teams get ready for the long haul of the regular season, by the time you get into October, both of these teams are going to be in their final form. Right now, they're not. I like what John Chamberlain did, though, with his running game. I like the fact that he really mixed it up. He used basically everybody you could think of back there. He used all the Wall brothers. He used Haven Walls, Nicer Walls, Enoch Figueroa. He used
Quaddy Walls.
Yeah, Quaddy Walls. He used Deron Williams as well for that touchdown. And then on the first play, guess who called his own number? It was Gabriel Hill for 79 yards. It was impressive. And I think that, again, it came down to those little mistakes. If Clayton, had not had that many false starts, not had that many offsides, they might have been okay. But this was a game of different philosophies merging together. Collingswood was a very nice hybrid offense of rushing and passing, and meanwhile Clayton was a very run-heavy offense. And so run-heavy, again, they only attempted 2 passing plays. One was a sack and a legal formation, and the other one was a pass downfield to Walls. So the point is, though, is that Clayton still was able to shine despite the fact that they are a run-heavy team, kind of a one-trick pony, but they were able to turn that pony into a lot of different tricks, and they were able to run a lot of option plays. They were able to run a lot of jet sweeps. They were really mixing it up on the offense, and something that we didn't really see last year from Demetrius Williams. But again, when your star running back who had 1,600 yards graduates, always creates an interesting situation, and it creates a little bit of a dilemma for the head coach, which John Chamberlain, even though they lost tonight, I felt he handled pretty well.
And one thing you absolutely hit on the head was the who was going to make the least mistakes. And today that was Collingswood, right? It was just yes, they had some false start early on, but that was something that I think they corrected at halftime. Clayton started jumping a little bit more. They kept him off balance the whole day. They had him jumping off most of the day. There were multiple third and fourth down plays where Clayton was jumping in crucial, less than 5-yard situations. So Collingswood, I think you go in the locker room, you're feeling really good going to Overbrook next week, which was a good game. Clayton and Collingswood played Overbrook, both of them last week, and Clayton, that was their 42-42 tie. So I'm sure they'll see them
triple overtime
at some point later in the year. So really just a solid win for Collingswood today. Clayton, though, I don't think it's anything to really hang your head about. You change, you pick up a couple things, just work on, snap count, stuff like that, so you make sure you're not jumping off or false starting. Just limit the penalties. I think the one turnover, although it didn't lead to points, I think it was a huge momentum swing. So not a ton of things Clayton can look at and be like, yeah, that was disappointing, but really solid game, really solid atmosphere here in Collingswood, and the home team pulls it out.
And that's the thing, is that Clayton, we're feeling like exact deja vu from last year. Clayton lost this game, this very same matchup, by 4 points, and they went on to have a better regular season than Collingswood did. Week 0 doesn't make or break your season. Going down the stretch, that's where it'll be. Both of these teams have tough opponents coming ahead. Clayton's going to be playing Haddon Township in a couple of weeks. I think that's going to be a good game. Clayton's got Overbrook on October 3rd, Paulsboro on October 25th, coming off of an off week. Meanwhile, Collingswood, West Deptford on Thursday, September the 11th, Haddon Township on Friday the 26th, and then they've got Audubon at Audubon for their Friday Night Lights game on October the 10th. There's a lot of tough atmospheres to be in for Collingswood. There's a lot of tough places they got to play, and tonight is not going to be indicative of that. Collingswood could lose the next couple of games and be off, but who knows? I'm not the one to make too many predictions, but I think that both of these teams are just going to be fine, and tonight was a very hard-fought game between both the Clippers and the Panthers. Now, for a player of the game honor, you think Caden Luby deserves it?
I would think so.
I would say so as well. I think that, listen, when you don't know who your player of the game is, you default to the quarterback. But with Luby's case, he was such a dual threat as an offensive player, as a defensive player as well. He had a couple tackles as well in the defensive side. And he also picked up more receptions tonight than he did all of last year. He only had 2 receptions in 2024 as a junior for 22 yards. So he picks that up, turns that ethos on its head, and now finds a way to now be a dual threat running back and receiver combo for this very gritty Collingswood team. So as Clayton leaves the field behind us, final thoughts before we depart tonight.
For Collingswood, it's what's up next. You're 1-0 for the second straight year, a good, strong win against Clayton. And you move on, and that's just going to be the key, is just capitalizing on that second half of the year for Collingswood, because they played well last year in the beginning, and then obviously fell off a little bit. They lost 5 games to end the year.
Yeah, they finished 1-6 to end the season.
Right. So, and then for Clayton, I think it's just still that mentality. It's next man up. Who's going to be the next man up for that running back? You said it best. They use a lot of different options at the running back position. So who's really going to step up and take that starter and leadership role, and move forward for that offense, both on the defensive sides of the ball, just get everyone healthy and move towards the second half of the year.
Yeah, this almost felt like a public tryout for Clayton running back. It felt like whoever was going to be the next guy, as you said, next guy up, was going to get that starting job. And who knows? They could experiment with it the entire season. They could continue keeping guys in the rotation, because I'll tell you what, if you have 4 equally talented running backs on your staff, that's honestly kind of better for you, because you don't have to worry about relying on one guy, because the biggest problem Clayton had last year with Demetrius Williams was that when he would get tired or he would get fatigued, they didn't have anybody that was his level.
And he was the one guy.
He was the one guy. I mean, he rushed for 1,600 more yards. He had 1,000 more total yards than the entirety of Clayton passing and the entirety of Clayton receiving. So they come into this season with a new group of guys, and if they can all work together, guess what? Here's your first down guy. Here's your third and short guy. Here's your second down. Here's your second and long guy. You get different running backs for different situations. The more games they play, the more solid that will become, and I think it might actually work for Clayton. It's almost like having a slew of different people in the mix so that nobody gets tired. You run 2 plays, you rest for it. You rest for a couple plays. You play 2, you get to rest. It works out perfectly for Clayton, but honestly, the real test is going to be time. We're going to see how Clayton gets to handle that, and we'll see how they go the rest of the way. So for our final score tonight, 27-20, Collingswood over Clayton. Second year in a row, Collingswood wins this Group 1, Week 0 matchup on this Friday morning with a 10:30 a.m. kickoff. Got a fantastic start with Gabriel Hill, 79-yard touchdown. Collingswood got one back, went into the half, 14-13 Clayton, and then 2 scores by Collingswood, was able to put it away, and Clayton's final score was not enough, and it's 27-20 to final tonight from Collingswood High School. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer, Damian Waiters, to our right, my color commentator for tonight, my colleague, Colin Morris. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you later tonight from Point Pleasant Beach, the South River Rams, and the Point Pleasant Beach Garnet Gulls from, of course, the Shore Conference. We'll see you later tonight, and if we don't see you tonight, we'll see you tomorrow in Penns Grove, between the Penns Grove Red Devils and the Paulsboro Red Raiders. Have a good one, folks. That was a good one, 27-20. We'll see you tomorrow.